1. Introduction. My name is Jenny. I am 29 years old. I have been married to Robert for 5 years. Our marriage used to be very good. We laughed together, we cooked together, and we had many dreams. Robert was my everything. I thought we would be together always. But recently, things started to change. Robert began to act differently. He stopped talking to me much. He started coming home late almost every night. When he came home, he did not kiss me. Sometimes he did not even look at me. He said he was busy at work. He also said he was tired and that I worried too much. But I felt a distance growing between us. One specific night, this distance felt very strong. I sat alone on the couch, waiting for him. The clock showed midnight, then 1 in the morning. The dinner I made was cold on the table. My heart felt cold and heavy. I tried to call him, but there was no answer. I sent him a text message, but he did not reply. I tried to think of good reasons. Maybe he was driving, I thought. Maybe his phone battery was dead. I tried to believe these things. Time passed slowly. It was 2 in the morning when I finally heard his car outside. The sound made my hands shake slightly. He walked into the house. He looked surprised to see me still awake. "Jenny, you are still up?" he asked. He tried to sound normal, but his voice was not quite right. "Where were you?" I asked him. My voice was quiet. "Work," he said simply. He took off his coat. His answer was short. "What about your phone?" I asked. "No battery," he replied, avoiding my eyes. I wanted to believe him. I truly wanted to believe his words and trust him. But deep inside, a strong feeling told me something was wrong. A small voice in my mind whispered that he was not telling me the full truth. This specific night was when my deep suspicion began. This was the beginning of a difficult time for us. I knew in my heart that something was not right with Robert and our marriage. The feeling was strong and hard to ignore. 2. A growing space. The days after that night felt quiet and strange. Robert kissed my forehead lightly before he left for work. It was a quick kiss, and it felt cold. It was like a duty, not a sign of love. I tried to live my normal life. I went to my job, saw my friends, and drank my morning coffee. But I could not stop thinking. I felt a strong feeling that Robert was hiding something from me. This feeling made me sad and worried all the time. It was a heavy weight in my heart. When Robert came home in the evenings, he was very quiet. He sat on the couch, always looking at his phone. He scrolled through it for a long time. He did not seem to notice me much. Sometimes I changed my hair or I cooked his favorite dinner. He did not even look up. He smiled less than before. He only spoke when he had to, usually with short answers. We used to talk about everything, but now there was a big silence between us. It was like he was there in the same room, but his mind was somewhere else, far away from me. I tried to make things better. I asked him about his day. I tried to start conversations about our plans or old memories, but he was always distracted. His eyes were on his phone, or he stared into space, lost in his own thoughts. He seemed very far away. He acted like a robot, just moving through the day without much feeling. This made me feel very lonely, even when we were in the same house. The space between us grew bigger every day. It felt like a wide river was forming, pushing us apart. One evening, I saw him staring ahead. His eyes looked tired, but it was more than just tiredness. "Robert, are you okay?" I asked him softly. He looked at me for a moment. "Yeah, just tired," he said, but tired did not look like that. His answer felt empty. It did not explain the distance. Then a small thing made my fears much stronger. I smelled a strange perfume on his jacket. It was not my perfume. It was not a smell I knew. It was sweet, but it made my stomach feel bad. This small detail made my heart beat faster. It was a new piece of the puzzle, a bad piece. I tried to tell myself it was nothing, maybe a coworker, but the feeling of suspicion grew. It was a cold, hard knot in my chest. The perfume smell stayed in my mind. It was a quiet warning. I could not ignore it. The silence in our home felt heavier. The distance between us was now a very clear thing. It was a problem that I could not pretend was not there. My worries were now much bigger than before. 3. The paper in his pocket. 1 week later, I was doing the laundry. I checked Robert's jeans pockets. I found a small, folded piece of paper. I opened it. My heart started to beat fast. It was a receipt from a hotel. It showed a cash payment. The date was the same night Robert came home at 2 in the morning. This was the night I waited for him for many hours. The paper felt cold in my hand. My knees felt weak. I sat down on the floor. The discovery was crushing. I held the receipt tightly. I waited for Robert to come home. I put the receipt in my pocket. I knew I had to ask him about it. My hands were shaking. My mind was full of questions. When he walked in, I tried to stay calm. We had dinner. It was hard to act normal. After some time, I took a deep breath. I looked at him. He was watching television. "Robert," I said softly. He turned his head. "I found this today." I showed him the small paper. He saw the receipt. His face changed. He froze. His eyes got wide. He looked worried. He quickly said, "It's not what you think, Jenny." "Then what is it?" I asked him. My voice was low. He looked away. Then he looked back at me. He told me a story. He said it was for a business meeting. He said they had a client from another city. The meeting was very late. He told me he stayed at the hotel to finish talking about work. He said it was important for his job. "At a hotel?" I whispered. Tears filled my eyes. He did not look at me directly. He said, "Jenny, please, you have to trust me." But his words did not sound true. My trust in him was already weak. Now it felt like it was breaking completely. It was like glass falling. He wanted me to believe his new story, but I could not. I remembered the cold kiss and the perfume smell. This receipt was more proof. That night, Robert slept next to me. He seemed to sleep easily, but I could not close my eyes. I lay awake for many hours. I cried silently. The pillow became wet with my tears. The paper, that small receipt, felt like a very big problem. It was heavy in my mind. Our marriage was in deep trouble. My heart ached with pain and doubt. I felt very alone, even with him right beside me. For the hard truth, the next weekend, Robert said he had to go to another meeting. I nodded my head slowly, trying to act like I believed him. But inside, I knew I could not believe him anymore. This time, I had to know the truth. I decided to follow him. A cold feeling of guilt grew in my stomach. I felt bad for doing it, but my heart needed an answer. My mind told me I had to be strong and find out what was really happening. He left the house, and I waited for a few minutes. Then I got into my own car. I started the engine quietly and drove slowly behind him. He did not go to any office building. He did not go to a business park. Instead, he drove to a small hotel. It was a little bit outside the city, hidden away. My hands felt cold on the steering wheel of my car. My heart beat very fast. I parked my car where he could not see it and waited. I watched him get out of his car and walk into the hotel. My breath caught in my throat. After only a few minutes, I saw someone else. A woman. She had long, black hair. She wore a bright red dress. She walked towards Robert, and then she smiled at him. Her smile was warm, and she looked at him like she knew him very, very well. She looked happy to see him. They stood close, talking for a moment, and then they went inside the hotel together. Seeing them together was like a big, heavy stone dropping onto my chest. My worst fears, the ones I had been pushing away, were now real. My heart broke into many small pieces. I could not breathe properly. The air felt thick and heavy. I did not wait any longer. I could not. I started my car and drove away from that place. Tears ran down my face, blurring the road in front of me. Each tear felt like a tiny cut. That night, Robert came back home. He walked in, and I could smell the perfume again. It was the same smell I had noticed before on his jacket in our bed. My anger mixed with my pain. I was standing in the living room waiting for him. "How was your meeting?" I asked him. My voice was quiet, but it felt strong. He looked at me, a small, fake smile on his face. "Good, very productive," he said. I looked straight into his eyes. "Was she productive too?" I asked. The words came out before I could stop them. His face changed. The blood left his cheeks and he turned pale. He froze in the doorway. He knew that I knew. "Jenny, I can explain," he started to say. His voice was weak. "Don't," I cut him off. "Don't try to explain. I saw you. I saw everything." He opened his mouth again, but no sounds came out. There were no more lies. only silence. A hard, cold silence that filled our home. 5. His sad words. The morning after the terrible night was quiet, too quiet. Robert and I did not speak. We moved around the house like strangers. The air felt heavy, like a big storm was coming. Every minute felt like an hour. My heart was still broken, and his face showed deep shame. We did not look at each other. There were no words, but the silence was very loud. It spoke of broken promises, broken trust, and a broken home. This heavy quiet filled the space between us all day long, making it feel even larger than before. When evening came, Robert finally came to me. His eyes were red, full of sadness. He looked very sad. He stood in front of me for a moment, then slowly sat on the couch. I waited, not knowing what he would say. He took a deep breath, like he was gathering all his courage. "Jenny," he started, his voice soft and shaky. "Please, I made a mistake. I am so sorry." I felt a bitter laugh rise inside me, but I held it back. "A mistake?" I asked, my voice cold and hard. "Is that what you call it, Robert? A mistake?" It felt like a small word for such a big hurt. A mistake is something small, like forgetting a name. This was not a small thing. He looked down at his hands, avoiding my eyes. "I don't love her," he said quickly, as if that would fix everything. "It was just. I don't know what happened. I was lonely, Jenny. I was very stressed with work. It meant nothing. She meant nothing." He tried to explain, but his words felt empty. They were just sounds, not real feelings that could heal. I stood up. I could not sit anymore. "Nothing," I repeated, my voice rising a little. "You broke my trust, Robert. You broke everything we built together, our life, our future, our dreams. You broke it all into tiny pieces. How can you say it meant nothing?" The pain in my chest was sharp. His excuses did not make it better. In fact, they made it worse. He looked up at me, his eyes full of fear and despair. Then he slowly fell to his knees on the floor in front of me. "Please, Jenny," he begged, his voice shaking. "Please don't leave me. I will change. I promise. I will do anything you want. I will go to a doctor, a therapist. I will quit my job if it made me stressed. Just please don't leave me." He reached for my hand, but I pulled it away. My heart felt very heavy. A small part of me, the part that remembered our happy past, wanted to forgive him. It wanted to believe his promises. It wanted to fix things. But another part, a stronger part, screamed no. My soul felt too hurt. His words were sad, yes, but they were just words. They could not take away the picture I had seen. They could not heal the deep wound he had made. His apologies were empty. The pain was still there, big and real. 6, a big choice. Days passed and the house felt empty. Robert tried to act normal again. Every morning he made my favorite breakfast. He brought me coffee in bed. He sent many flowers to my office. He wrote long text messages saying he was sorry. He promised to change. He said he would be a better husband. He wanted to win me back. He tried very hard to show me he was sorry and wanted to fix things, but all his actions felt empty. They felt like a show, not real feelings. My heart could not feel them. My trust in him was broken. It was like a very delicate mirror. When it breaks, you can see the pieces. You can try to glue them together, but the cracks are always there. You can always see them. Our trust was broken into many pieces. I could not see a way to put them back perfectly. The picture of our life together was now full of cracks. I spent many hours alone. I thought about everything. I looked at our wedding photo. Robert and I looked so happy in the picture. We made important promises on that day. We promised to be together in good times and bad times. We promised to love each other always, but he broke those promises. I thought about what marriage truly means. It means two people trust each other completely. It means they are honest. Without trust, a marriage cannot live. It cannot be strong. Our marriage was like a beautiful tree without roots. It could not stand anymore. Making a choice was very hard. It hurt me deeply. It felt like tearing a part of myself away. This was the hardest choice of my life, but I knew what I had to do. I had to choose myself. I had to choose my peace. One evening, Robert came home from work. He looked tired. He tried to smile at me. I took a deep breath. My voice was quiet, but my words were very clear. "Robert," I said, "I want a divorce." He dropped his bag on the floor. His eyes were wide. He looked very surprised and sad. "Jenny, please," he said. "Don't do this. I love you. I made a mistake. I will change, I promise. I will go to therapy. I will quit my job if you want. Anything for you." He started to cry. He got on his knees and begged me to stay. He promised to talk about his stress. He promised to spend all his time with me. He promised to make new vows. He said he would do anything to make me happy again. He said he would never hurt me again. He looked at me with tears in his eyes. He looked truly desperate. But I had heard his promises before. I had heard his lies before. The memory of his betrayal was too fresh. It was a deep wound in my heart. His words were just words. They did not feel strong enough to heal such a big wound. My mind was clear. My decision was made. I looked at him. My voice was still soft. "Love?" I asked. "If you truly loved me, you would not have done this. You broke my heart, Robert. You broke our life together." Trust, once it is gone, is very hard to find again. Sometimes it is impossible. I knew my decision was right. It was painful, but it was right. I had to move forward. The next morning, I started to pack my suitcase. It was time to leave. 7, the last day. Packing my bags was the hardest thing I had ever done. Each item I put into the suitcase felt heavy. I saw our photos, his shirts, my favorite book we read together. Every piece brought back memories, both good and bad. My hands shook as I folded clothes. My heart felt like a big stone in my chest. This was not how I imagined my life would be. This was not the future I had planned for us. Robert stood in the doorway. His face was red and tears ran down his cheeks. I had never seen him cry like this before. He looked very sad, almost broken. "Please, Jenny," he said, his voice shaking. "Don't go, don't leave me alone." He reached out his hand, but I could not take it. My decision was made. It was difficult, but I knew it was right. I looked at him, my eyes also full of tears. "I didn't leave you, Robert," I told him softly. "You left me first. You left our marriage long before I packed this suitcase." His eyes went down. He had no words to say. He knew it was true. The trust was broken, and I could not fix it alone. Our love had turned into something else, something sad and empty. Walking out of the door felt like walking into a new, unknown world. Every step I took was heavy. The air outside felt different. It was painful to leave the home we had built together, but it was necessary for me. I needed to find peace again. I needed to find myself again. I did not look back. It was too hard. I went to stay with my good friend, Sarah. She welcomed me with a warm hug. Her home was a safe place. The first nights were very hard. I cried a lot. I missed Robert, even though I was angry with him. Sometimes I hated him for the pain he caused. Then I would miss the good times we once shared. My emotions were like a storm inside me. But slowly, day by day, the pain started to become lighter. Sarah listened to me. She gave me comfort. I started to breathe more easily. I began to sleep a little better. I took long walks. I drank tea and talked for hours. I knew I was not alone. One morning, I woke up and looked in the mirror. My eyes were still a little red, but I saw something new. I saw a woman who was hurt, but also strong. I saw a woman who had survived a difficult time. This was the start of my new journey, a journey of healing and finding myself again. It would take time, but I knew I would be okay. 8, the final lesson. Many months went by. Jenny slowly started to feel like herself again. The heavy sadness began to lift. Each morning, she woke up feeling a little lighter. She found joy in small things, like the first cup of coffee or a walk in the park. She spent more time with her friends, laughing and talking about new things. Her work felt good again, and she focused on her career. She knew she was healing and growing stronger every day. The dark clouds of her past were finally moving away, replaced by brighter skies. One quiet afternoon, a message came on her phone. It was from Robert. He wrote that he was truly sorry for everything he had done. He said he was going to therapy now and was trying hard to understand his mistakes. He wished her happiness for her future and hoped she could find peace. Jenny read the message carefully. She felt no anger, only a quiet calm. She did not reply. She knew she had moved forward a long way, and looking back would not help her journey. Her path was now ahead, not behind. She often thought about the past, but not with deep pain. She saw it as a valuable lesson. She remembered the early days with Robert, the dreams they shared, and the promises they made to each other. She realized that real love was more than just sweet words or plans for the future. Love was about what a person did every single day. It was about honesty, trust, and being loyal when times were difficult. Robert had failed in his actions, even if he said he loved her. His words had been empty because they were not supported by loyalty and truth. Choosing to leave Robert was the hardest thing she had ever done in her life, but it was also the most important decision. She understood that she was choosing herself, choosing her own well-being. She was choosing her peace and her future happiness above everything else. This difficult decision was not an end to her story. It was a new beginning. Now she lived alone, but she felt peaceful, strong, and truly free. She enjoyed her independence, her quiet evenings, and her busy days. She had good friends who supported her, and she felt a deep sense of calm. Sometimes she even smiled when she thought of the past, seeing it as a hard path that ultimately led her to a much better place. She knew, without a doubt, that choosing herself was the best decision she had ever made. This final lesson taught her how to truly value herself and what real love means.